The rise of retail media in the commerce landscape has been huge over the past few years. You've probably seen every retailer on the street is opening up their own retail media network. And to us, what that really means is that this is a space that is evolving and it's a space that's really growing. And what we need to be thinking about around retail media with commerce specifically is that retailers are no longer just a retailer. A retailer is also a data source, a retailer is an audience creator, a retailer can be part of a brand story. And so more and more as we think about these retail media networks, we should be talking about them as a place that you can grow a brand and think about an omnichannel opportunity, a full funnel opportunity, and consider them as more than just a conversion driver.
So Bernie, retailers are not just retailers anymore, as you said. Wanted to get a sense of the role that data itself plays in helping brands, retailers win at the digital shelf.
So not to be hyperbolic, but I think that data is at the core of everything that we should be doing in terms of both retail media as well as in the digital shelf. And so data really is going to tell brands everything they need to know about what they should be doing with their PDPs, what are their consumer behaviors, how should they be doing their media strategy. And so data should be informing really all the different parts of the funnel, and data should be informing how you're coming to the consumer on site.
So the omnichannel world that we live in seems pretty much agreed upon by everyone, but there often is a disconnect between the physical shelf and the online shelf. How can retailers better connect those two?
I think that when we look at the really good examples of people who do this, someone like a Kroger, for example, has 96% of their transactions logged at the loyalty card level. So what that means is that transactions that are happening both in-store and online are being tracked to the same user ID. With that, what you can do is create a real full funnel opportunity, really understand what your audience is doing, and really track all those conversions that will drive then the idea of what audience creation might look like for you in the future. And so when I look at that best-in-class example, I think that more and more retailers should be understanding the value of their data in a full funnel way. So there's the online data, but also ensuring that we're taking into account the offline data as well and what those transaction logs are doing. Because still, if we look now, for example, in the grocery space, digital penetration is still a problem. And so you can be going after that online audience all you want, but you want to make sure that you're not ignoring the vast majority of people who are still shopping in store.
So retail media certainly seems like an unstoppable force at this point, but there are some barriers to the continued acceleration. What are those barriers that brands are facing, and how do you think they can overcome it?
So I think that some of the barriers that the brands are facing are really internal barriers, and I hate to say this, but some people are getting in their own way. It's a lot about internal red tape and understanding what their data team is doing and what their marketing team is doing, because often those teams aren't talking to each other. In other cases, different parts of the marketing team might not be talking to each other. And so in my mind, the greatest barriers that brands are facing now is that you can have all of this great data, but what are you going to do with it? Is that data actually going to inform what you're doing in terms of retail media strategies and also just media strategies in general? And then if you have that data that shows that retail media is what's driving the business, do you have the internal capabilities to move money around that allows you to then invest where that data is showing you that that media is working? Without being able to do that flexible movement, brands are getting in their own way and not using the data to their best of ability.
Innovation is another unstoppable force in retail media. Everyone's trying to play catch up. What's the next big opportunity for brands in the space to speed up the growth in retail?
I think, as always, the buzzword the past couple of years is AI and machine learning, and I think that as we look at the future and where we're heading, both brands and retailers are going to see that AI is the big disruptor in the space. And so when we think about things, not just media, but also commerce, when we think about things like supply chain, when we think about things like media allocation, when we think about things like content, we expect AI to really disrupt across the board. And so as AI and machine learning are more heavily adopted, I would expect that to be a way that brands are really growing in the space.